Hi everybody, Debbie here from Craftywafty, and I'm going to show you how to make a W fold on your album pages. And for this you're going to need 2 blank pages already set in your album. Now what you want to make sure is that you've got pages that go either side of the hinge. What you don't want to try and do is do it across a gap. Okay, so you must have 2 pages close together. And then we've got our patterned paper, and now these are cut 7 inches by 7 inches to fit just nicely on our page. Okay, so they will go on like so. And then we're going to create a W fold strip, which we will then be able to attach some photo mat cards and that too. So the first things first is that I'm just going to stick these down. Now I've already gone round and distress inked these, and I've just put a little bit of faux stitching on there as well. Okay, so just going to I've got glue on my nail there, and I'm just going to attach these to the page. Now I've gone with the same pattern to go across both pages just to keep that lovely continuity, but it's up to you how you decorate yours. So there's one side. Now you can see this is a bit more distressed down one end here as it is on the other side, so I've just done those so they're opposite. Just going to put a little bit of glue around the edge there, a little bit in the middle. There we are. Just pop that to one side, and we're just going to pop this on here. Now obviously when you're putting these in, you want to make sure that they are level and lined up with each other. So I'm just going to turn that on its side just so I can see if that line comes across the same, which it does. Okay, I think that's a little bit further down actually, so I'm just going to move that one up a little bit. I'm just going to tuck that one. I had a bit more of the top than the bottom, and I will change the other one. Just trying to make sure that I get that edging just right. There we are. Okay, I'm going to turn that round so that looks pretty good. Okay, let's just have a little look. I think that one is, that's all okay. I'm going to add a little bit of glue under there. That one's not quite stuck properly. There we go. Okay, so I've got those on. Now what we're going to need is, I'm just going to pop that up there, is a 16-inch strip by 2 inches. So I've got 2 pieces of cardstock here, so I'm just going to join them together. I'm just going to give it a little overlay rather. Overlap. Okay, lay that over, and I'm just doing that by about half an inch, just so I get a nice good bond on that, because unfortunately we don't get 16, well, unless you're using A3 paper you might be able to get it out of that, but seeing as I'm using A4 paper, I'm just going to have to glue that together. Okay, so now I need to just measure that and cut it at 12. So this is cut it at 16 rather. So this is a 12-inch ruler. So I'm just going to line that up and sit that on there. And then I've got, so 12, so I need another 4 inches. Now this is actually 4 inches wide, so I can tuck that up against there. Let me just move this down a little bit so you can see what I do on the end here. So I'm just going to line that up. That's 12. Line that up nice and straight. Here we are. Here's another 4. So by my calculations that makes 16. 12 and 4 makes 16. And then I'm just going to cut that end bit off like so. So now we've got our lovely strip of 16 inches by 2 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to get my big scoreboard. Now, what we're going to do is, obviously, we're going to score on the 16-inch side at 4 inches. Then we're going to come along and do 8 inches. And then we're going to come along and squeeze right in there the 12 inches. Okay. And this is what's going to create the fold. So let's just clip that out of the way. Okay. So we're going to have it coming back on itself. So you're almost going to concertina it. Okay. And then that comes back like so. We're just going to get the bone folder just to give those nice sharp edges. Okay. And as you can see, there is our W fold. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add glue on these 2 sides, but leave this bit sticking up. So the idea is that when we pop these onto the page, okay, we're just going to bring it in a little bit. So we're still showing a little bit of the paper, but you get the W fold bit in the center. And then when you fold up your pages, that will close just nicely and it will be tucked in there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick one side down first and then the other side. So I love this. It gives it like a little pop-up element to the pages, which is quite fun. Okay, so I'm just going to work out roughly. I'm sort of doing it so it's about 1/4 of an inch in from where the patterned paper is on that side, like so. Obviously I'm doing it by eye, but if you want to measure just to make sure you've got those correct, then that's absolutely fine. And now I can just add in and glue the other end to the other page. Okay, let's just move that along, and again that's about 1/4 of an inch by about 1/4 of an inch. And before that one sets properly, I'm just going to get my long ruler and just make sure that, yeah, it is about 1/4 of an inch. That's not bad going. Okay, and that's going to stick like so. And that is our basic W fold. And when you close it, you'll see that the fold is actually hidden within the pages, which is what we want. Now I've already cut out my patterned papers to go on the little panels. Okay, now you could decorate these before you stick your W on. Okay, now these are 1 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. I'm going to start off with these 2 first. Now I normally allow about 1/8 of an inch all the way round my patterned papers, like so. So just stick that one on. And I've gone with this lovely tartan because you've got tartan in the background, but then it's picking up the sort of the cream and the red colour. So I wanted something that would contrast nicely with this paper. And I'm going to do the same on this side, like so. Bring that down just a little bit. So they're the 2 flat ones, and then we're just going to come up over the W. But like I said, you could have stuck these on before you stuck it down. But I just wanted you to see the W au naturel, shall we say. Okay, I'm just going to stick that on there, line that up. So I'm making sure I'm lining that paper up nicely. And it's straight. That looks pretty good to me. And then I'm going to come and do the other side. Here we go. I'm just going to bit of glue on there. And again, I've distressed the edges on here, and I've done a little bit of faux stitching, so it just keeps that continuity. Right, here we go. Whoops, there we are. Right, I'm going to turn that round so I can now stick that one in. So I'm just lining that one up with the top and lining it up with the one at the bottom, just to make sure that they're all nice and even. Okay, so that is the base of our fold card. And then what I've done is I've cut out some photo mats. Now these photo mats are 3¼ inches by 4¼ inches, and these get stuck onto our W fold. Okay, now you could cut out 3 by 4 inch white paper with your place photo here, or you could put pictures directly onto this, like photos directly onto this, or if you've got a journaling card or something like that, that, you know, like the 3 by 4, or even, you know, whatever you want really, you can sort of pop that on there. Project Life card maybe you could pop on there as well. So I'm just going to stick these down. So the first two will get stuck flat to the page. So I'm just using a bit of glue again on here. All right, and I just set this off slightly, so we're still getting some of the pattern, and I'm roughly, it's about 1/4 inch going round like so. So that one's stuck down, and then I'm going to do the same on this one. There we are. Okay, I like this page because it comes together quite quickly, but it looks really effective. Right, okay, so it's about, again, and you could, you know, if you wanted to, just do your measurements on there just to double check. And then these two cards are going to stick on there. But like I said, you can put your photos on there, or your project cards and stuff, so forth. But I'm just sticking these on plain for now because I haven't quite decided what photos I'm going to put in yet. But what I like about this one is that you could have 4 photos that run in sequence maybe. So maybe it was something that happened that you just want to capture that moment. You can sort of go through and do that on there. Okay, I've just realised I put glue right on the back of that. What a silly nana. There we go. Let's just wipe that glue off. I was getting too carried away with the glue. Okay, I'm just going to wipe off some of that glue. There we are. We only need to put a little bit of glue on. Right, these things happen. Okay, let's stick that back down on there. Okay, and that will just hold. So I'm just lining that up with the base of the other one. Okay, let's just give that a little, where that's had the glue on it. I said we'll just flatten that out. That'll flatten out in the album. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. Remember, Deb, a little bit of glue on the base here for this one. There we are. And I'm going to tuck that one in on there like so, and I'm just lining that one up again with this one, and hopefully they will all be the same height. So I'll just have a little look down the album. That's pretty spot on. That's not too bad at all. Okay, now I'm just going to let those two dry, and then I can make a decision as to what photos and that I'm going to put on there. But when you close the page, it's all hidden. And then when you open it up, there's your little pop-up. So there we are. That's a lovely W fold. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.